Hello and welcome to Views on News. My name is Naila Shuja. You are watching Views on News here on Pakistan TV. Now, today's topic is quite pertinent to the evolving situation at hand. We're talking about Bagram Air Base, which is 40 kilometers north of Kabul and has been a significantly defining symbol of foreign involvement in Afghanistan for decades. And it was originally built by the Soviets and later expanded by the Americans. And it eventually became the headquarters for U.S. military operations after 2001. And now, at its peak, Bagram has hosted over 100,000 coalition troops and has served as the hub of airstrike, logistics, and intelligence operations. Now, today, President Donald Trump made, a statement calling Bagram a vitally strategic domain and citing this closeness to China, just 1 hour away from where China makes nuclear missiles, and its potential for accessing Afghanistan's $1 trillion in untapped mineral wealth. Now, the Taliban, however, has rejected any U.S. military presence, signaling the clash before the American strategic ambitions and Afghan sovereignty. Now, that being said, we are joined by two wonderful experts here, one in studio and one joining us online. Joining us in studio is Major General Dr. Raza Mohammed, former Ambassador, High Commissioner of Pakistan to Mauritius. And joining us online is Dr. Syed Hussain Shaheed, Soherwordi, Foreign Affairs Expert, Professor at Peshawar University. Ambassador, welcome to the show. It is an honor for us to have you here. Let's begin with the heart of the matter. Why does Bagram matter? Let's just ask very point blank.
Thank you so much. As you explained in the beginning in your intro, that Bagram is a very, very big airbase, one of the biggest they constructed in Afghanistan after 9/11. It could host perhaps dozens of aircraft, and it has multiple runways, 2 concrete runways, big runways, which can take the heavy aircrafts. It has the storage facilities, living facilities, and all that. I have visited incidentally, Bagram Air Base long time back, and I stayed there for a night also. When they went away, when United States left Afghanistan, they actually gave up all the bases. There were 4 or 5 major bases, but this was the biggest of all. Why does it matter? It matters because of multiple reasons. Number one, it was a very big investment. Billions of dollars were spent here. Number two, its location, the strategic location. When the American troops, when the American Air Force, they are sitting at the Bagram Air Base, they can actually exude influence all around in the region, and closest to them would be China, and then Russia, Central Asian countries, Pakistan, Iran, Turkey, and even India. So it is the place where if they sit, they exude the influence. And as you said in your intro, President Trump's worry is that they consider China as their arch rival. In their national security strategy, they have termed it as a rival, and they consider that China is a revisionist state, and China is perhaps coming up with its economic might, technology, and military development to replace United States of America. And second worry, which the Trump has iterated today, that they are very close to China from here. It's 1 hour flight or 1 hour's distance from Bagram. So that is how it becomes very, very important strategically to have a presence here and to control the Central Asia, China, and actually impact on Russia as well, and in whole of the South Asia.
Absolutely wonderful. Dr. Syed Hussain Shaheed Soherwordi is up next, and basically the question that I have for him is understanding that it has been labeled as the crown jewel of U.S. operations in Afghanistan. Its given role of hosting the NATO forces and logistics. What is the strategic lessons that Washington is able to see in its possible return? Yes, Mr. Soherwordi.
I believe that Taliban are very clear about this base that is under discussion. They think that they have expelled foreign forces from from their country, and for them allowing foreign forces back, which means the U.S. Would directly contradict their narrative of achieving full sovereignty and independence after 2 decades of conflict with with the US, and making such an arrangement politically and ideologically unacceptable. And hence, when I speak with some people there in Afghanistan on telephone and I inquire about it, they say that the atmosphere of Kabul is absolutely against any such arrangements as per which Donald Trump, president of the US, is desiring to have this base back. Normalization of relations is possible with the Taliban. It will not be, however, it will not be that straightforward as Americans at the moment think. I mean, Americans are still they don't understand that, and that a regime, Taliban regime in Afghanistan, in Kabul, they do not recognize them formally. And then there are different concerns of American government, for example, human rights, terrorism, women, education, exclusion of women and minorities from public life. So any move towards normal relations would require Taliban to show progress on these issues, especially in counterterrorism commitments and humanitarian guarantees. Pakistan is also raising question of the use of Afghan land by terrorist organizations, which is ISKP, which is TTP, and America is showing its concern regarding all these things. So that said, Trump has historically emphasized pragmatism and decision-making over traditional diplomacy. If he sees cooperation with the Taliban as beneficial for American counterterrorism interests, regional stability, especially with respect to what Pakistan is emphasizing at the moment. He could pursue some kind of limited engagement with them, such as for counterterrorism, as I stated, intelligence sharing, humanitarian arrangements, without granting full recognition. So, but if they think that with Bagram Air Base in control of Americans, situation will be normal, I believe the other side is definitely not agreeing with that, as I stated in the beginning, Taliban government. But at the same time, we need to see if Trump is having full support of Congress in his country, human rights groups in his country, US allies, to have normal relations with Afghanistan. That is again the question of the question. I believe that would be very difficult question to ask because entire West, especially Europe and its allies, when I say its allies, I mean US, they are not at all agreeing with normalizing relations. Well, Eastern phenomena is different. When I say Eastern phenomena, I mean all neighboring countries of Afghanistan, Russia, China, all of them, they have a different perspective. They want Afghanistan under the Taliban to have normal relations, to become member of Eastern community by discouraging terrorist activities, terrorist groups in its country. So I believe that in short, under Taliban's current policies, full normalization remains unlikely as far as West and Western countries and American Western allies are concerned. But a transactional relationship focused on security or regional strategy is what is possible in terms of the process in the present circumstances.
All right, Dr. Qamar, understanding what Ambassador Saab just recently said, that, you know, China is the arch rival of, all right, pardon me. Again, coming back to you, Ambassador, given the geography, you know, Bagram lies at the crossroads between South Asia, Central Asia, and China. Does this location basically enhance the U.S. military's, you know, leverage in the broader Asian territory?
Yes, very much, very much. Actually, as you were discussing, that there was a time when United States has stationed its forces here. And there were 42 countries which were in coalition. Operation Enduring Freedom was the name of the operation. And there were 120,000 troops stationed here, or sometimes 140,000 troops were stationed also here in Afghanistan. But major base was Bagram. So when you have Bagram in your hand, you can station your forces, your weaponry, your air, your missiles, your drones, your spy systems, your intelligence systems. All the systems can be stationed here, even the missiles and all that, to target the countries around. So it will become ultimately a small little United States
Yeah.
state of the United States, a kind of base of the United States, which will have strategic implications on not only Afghanistan but whole the region.
Okay.
As Dr. Soherwordi was saying, that most important thing would be, are the Talibans willing to give it up? They are not willing, but what will happen next? They cannot take it by force, because if they want to try it and take it by force again, it is going to restart the whole process which was started after the 9/11. So I think it is going to be a difficult take.
Yeah.
Unless they are able to convince Afghan Taliban, which I seemingly are not for it.
Okay, so understanding that this area is seen as a symbol for foreign occupation, right? Do we see that there could be a sense of resentment that increases within Afghanistan should this area, be highlighted once again?
Yes, I think so. I think so, because Afghanistan has suffered a lot because of the presence of the foreign troops. Right from 1989, when the Russian troops came, then there was a pause of few years, then the 9/11 happened, and then for 3-4 years the US troops were here, and whole Afghanistan is devastated. Their society has been shattered, their economic system has been shattered, their culture has been damaged, and they have suffered a lot actually. And I don't think that the Afghans would like it, Afghan people and the Afghan government will like it, that their country is militarized again.
Absolutely. Dr. Soherwordi, understanding this again, the military technology has basically changed since 2001, right? With drones and satellites basically dominating the arena of surveillance. That being said, this physical base is, strategically important, but is it still important given all of this technology?
I believe that your question is quite obvious, and it is very interesting and important responding to it that with this technological advancement, that will that be important. I'm taking it from a different perspective. I believe that right now engagement with Afghanistan is more important for the US than simply retaining or regaining access to a Bagram air base. A single military facility, no matter how strategic, cannot replace the benefits of sustained political, diplomatic, humanitarian engagement with the Taliban state and society. Through engagement, Americans can address broader concerns such as counterterrorism, cooperation, humanitarian aid delivery, women's rights, regional stability. And if they want to use Bagram Air Base vis-a-vis their rivals, as Ambassador with yourself mentioned, China, well, they can do that, but with a more closer collaboration and engagement with the regime which is governing there. So regional stability areas that are military footprint alone cannot effectively manage. So I believe that engagement allows the US to influence Afghanistan's trajectory and maintain a voice in regional dynamics where China, Russia, Iran, Pakistan, all these countries are all active players. Having Bagram Air Base would provide tactical advantages. Well, no question about it from strategic studies perspective. But without political dialogue and wider engagement, US risks isolation and reduced relevance in shaping Afghanistan's future. In short, I believe that bases project power, engagement builds influence on the society, on the government, even on the neighboring countries as well. So in the long run, influence is far more valuable for the US interests in South Asia and beyond, rather than just imagining having this one air base for which American President Donald Trump has really a love lost for somehow. But at the same time, I believe that strategically speaking, Afghanistan remains a critical hub in the region. For Afghanistan, important thing is that it borders of China, Iran, both countries. At the moment, America is having difficult relations with Central Asia, Pakistan, good relations with, and then Russia, once again, very difficult for them. So a limited US presence, whether for intelligence, counterterrorism, humanitarian operation, whatever they have in their minds, would allow Americans to monitor extremist groups like ISKP, like probably Al-Qaeda, or Chinese investment in Afghanistan, China, maybe maneuvering of China here so that they may have an eye on them. I think that symbolically, such a return would signal US that it can engage pragmatically with regimes it didn't recognize, maintaining pressure on the Taliban regarding human rights and inclusivity, while still safeguarding its own security interests, strategic interests. So maybe balancing act is delicate. Engagement without recognizing a country risks legitimizing Taliban indirectly, while complete disengagement cedes the government, the ground to U.S. adversaries. So real importance lies in Washington's ability to use selective engagement at leverage, protecting its interests, supporting Afghan people, shaping regional balance of power without granting Taliban full international legitimacy. But at the same time, engaging them is important.
Absolutely. Ambassador, given your expertise in defense as well, do you agree with the points made by Dr. Soherwordi, as well as the fact that, you know, when in the Afghan war, we saw that it was not just used by the US, but it was also utilized by NATO. Do we see that this could be a reactivation of sorts to pull back Europe into the situation?
Yes, I think, first of all, a little addition to your question which you asked about the technology and physical presence. I think technology does give advantages. For example, United States has lot many other bases. In the Indian Ocean, they have their aircraft carriers and all that. They also act as bases. But I think physical advantage or advantage of having a physical presence and a base is very important, significant. It is a significant advantage. Number two, when you have a base, so you can station multiple aircrafts there, multiple kind of aircraft. The aircraft carriers can carry a limited number of aircraft and limited types of aircrafts, whereas you have a base, you can have all types of aircraft, you can have all types of munitions. So if it gives you lots of flexibility. Now coming back to your question about the pulling or inducing Europe into it, this is quite possible, because when America comes, it does not mean that it is only America. It is a possibility that their allies like NATO or some other countries may participate. As I said earlier, initially when it came to the Operation Enduring Freedom after the 9/11, 42 countries coalition. There were 42 countries which were there in this coalition. So it is quite likely that it may be expanded. But physical presence at such a place in the heart of Afghanistan, in the heart of Asia, actually gives a lot of advantage to United States and others.
Absolutely. Dr. Soherwordi, I want to switch it over to the statements made by President Trump. And he basically claimed that Bagram is 1 hour away from China's nuclear missile sites. Now, how does this align with the U.S. strategy of, you know, containing the Beijing military?
I believe that he is having some kind of brinkmanship phenomena where he is trying to scare his presence of American forces in Bagram airbase once they have access to that. One thing. Second thing, they also want to ensure some kind of their presence, and then they want to show that in this way they will have a very strong check on China as well as Russia, which he has not mentioned, but basically the purpose is to have a check on China, Russia, and Iran. So in terms of the process, this kind of a strategy that he has, he's very fond of pronouncing and giving very big statements is at the moment counterproductive. The reason is that China is coming to Afghanistan and it has already landed there with economic benefits and with more economic advantages to Afghanistan society, rather than America, which is coming over with single point phenomena, with a single point agenda, and that is to have its forces stationed there. At the moment, Afghan society is not at all ready to accept any soldier on their land. They are not at all going to have any kind of any other agreements other than just two things. One is economic investment in Afghanistan, and the other is recognition of Afghanistan's present regime, which is the Taliban regime. So with the exception of these two, they are not interested in anything else, and that's the reason that they have given a blunt statement in response to Trump's whim and wish that he wants to have access to Bagram Air Base. They flatly declined. They rejected, and they want that somehow no compromise on sovereignty and independence of the country if Bagram base remains with them. If it is granted to America, that would be against the spirit of their ideology, that is to expel foreign forces from their country, that they did in 2021.
Dr. Soherwordi, there's also a trend that we can observe in the United States of America, that the taxpayers are basically now saying that we need our money to be utilized for our own selves, and rather than being spent on wars and being sent to different various countries. That being said, re-establishing Bagram could be quite costly regarding the situation. And that being said, do we see that there could be a rebuttal from the American taxpayers regarding the situation and various political institutions who might, not want to or might want to support this financial endeavor that they might, try to gain in terms of, military commitment again?
Almost $2.75 trillion of expenses were borne by war on terror, which just concluded. And numerous countries face this war on terror, and it's mostly and specifically Afghanistan and Iraq. And American population, the people of the US, they were really concerned about it, because they realized that we are investing a lot of money in foreign wars just to keep an aura of being a superpower. So that bleak picture, in fact, is at the moment encouraging the taxpayers not to encourage any such adventurism in Afghanistan in shape of having an access to Bagram Air Base. However, contradiction to this point that I just raised is another point of view, and that is that when a country is a superpower, when a country is unipolar, bipolar, so when if it is unipolar, and if a country has an aura like United States in the world, such kind of investment, they have to take place. They have to invest a lot. That's another thing, that American adventurism in the last 2 decades was misfired. That they came to Afghanistan to eliminate terrorism. They couldn't. They came over. They took a government from Taliban, and then they handed it over, which further proved that their entire mission in Afghanistan failed. They went for weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, and finally it was revealed that no such weapons of mass destruction were there in Iraq. So this misadventurism is also exposed to American population, which is not at all at the moment interested in landing its forces in any foreign place. I believe that this whim and wish that Donald Trump has expressed would not only be countered in American Congress, but also on the roads by the people of the United States.
And again, Ambassador Raza, just a little brief, touching upon your history as well with your experience working in defense. There is something that I want to understand a little bit more regarding the situation that India has historically supported the presence of the U.S. in Afghanistan, right? And it has led to a various counterbalance of sorts with Pakistan. That being said, and not just Pakistan, but China as well, right? But that being said, what could New Delhi's reaction be to this situation?
As far as New Delhi is concerned, I think you're right that they would be supporting Trump's stance of bringing the forces there, because this makes their job easier when they want to interfere in Pakistan.
Yeah.
When the foreign forces are there, they can actually very comfortably go there and act against Pakistan. Technically speaking, this is what I think, that they would be for it. But what happens, do the Afghans allow Americans to come in again? I think no. I would agree with Dr. Soherwordi that their objectives are very different. Afghans' objectives are very different. They want peace and stability in their country, economic stability in their country. They want recognition, and they want their country to be developed now, not become a war-torn country again.
Yeah.
So that is what I think. Yeah.
And just another thing, Washington hasn't really recognized the Taliban government, right? That being said, how have the negotiations been over Bagram, been?
But as far as Bagram is concerned, I think first of all the recognition. Few countries have recognized, like Russia, you said, has recognized Afghanistan. But at the same time, there are multiple countries which have their embassies in place in Kabul, and they are working from there. So de facto, indirectly, it is by implication, it is the recognition of Afghanistan. But what is hindering is that is the inclusivity, women education, and political issues, and issues related to the harboring of the terrorist organization there, or not harboring, at least looking away from ISIK and TTP and other organizations. So these are the issues which actually desist or discourage the other countries to recognize them, especially when it comes to Pakistan. Pakistan has been actually their ambassador all along. Pakistan has been trying that they should be recognized. Pakistan has been trying that they should become self-sustaining. There should be peace in Afghanistan, because it is in the benefit of Pakistan as well when it comes to the connectivity. But recognition, I think it would be a larger context when major powers of the world recognize Afghanistan. Pakistan will also, but it is contingent to their behavior.
Absolutely. Now, the fate of Bagram is, just more than a single air base, and it basically reflects the contest of influence for Asia. And the U.S. is seeking to project power, and the Taliban is, asserting their sovereignty. China and Russia are watching closely, and Pakistan is, trying to make sure that everything just flows in a nice, good way. But that being said, that is the conclusion of our first segment. We are again joined by Major General Dr. Raza, who was a former ambassador, and then we're also joined by Dr. Syed Hussain, Shaheed, Soherwordi, foreign affairs expert. Moving on to our second segment, it is a very imperative, conversation that we're having. The DG-ISPR recently made a statement that no either-or in Pakistan relationship with other countries, and basically stating that the DG-ISPR said that he had reaffirmed Pakistan's commitment to a long-standing relationship with the United States, stating that there is no either-or in our relations with other countries. He further expressed these views during the interview, which was, aired all throughout the world, and the interview was basically, speaking regarding the fact that it was asked about, Army Chief Asim Munir's visit to the United States and whether it had helped with warming up the relationships between Islamabad and Washington. But I'm not going to talk all about this. We have two wonderful guests who will be providing us more insight on this, starting off with Ambassador. Yes, fill us in regarding this whole situation. What are we expecting? What happened? What happened? What are we expecting? And what could be the future outcome of this?
Thank you so much. I think, if you allow me, I'll connect it with the recent Pakistan and KSA mutual security agreement also, or what we call is SMDA. After the Bunyan al-Marsus, or Pakistan's success in Marka-e-Haq, Pakistan gained a new recognition, and with the passage of time, when President Trump started saying that he brokered peace between Pakistan and India, Mr. Modi started denying it, or did not deny it that way, and they did not have courage to actually say that Mr. Trump is not right, and that is how the things started getting bad between them. And recently President Trump again reiterated, yesterday I think it was, that when he was meeting the British Prime Minister, it was perhaps for the 30th time or 35th time that he was saying that he brokered this peace. So overall, the global scenario is changing. Pakistan is gaining recognition. Pakistan is gaining more diplomatic kind of space in the world. And whether it is West, as you were saying, it is with the United States, China and other countries, Pakistan has been very careful in maintaining good relations with all the greater powers. Pakistan cannot afford to have bad relations with the United States. Pakistan doesn't want to have bad relations with the United States, and neither does Pakistan have a wish to have bad relations with any country, even with India. Now, coming over to your question about the management of the relation, and nothing is going to go bad. Yes, I think the Field Marshal's last visit, and currently we are hoping that there is going to be another visit. They are going to augur very well, and they are going to bring both countries together. And there will be an understanding, I think, developed on Pakistan and KSA Strategic Mutual Defense Agreement also. I do not think that the United States is going to act against it, because this agreement is not against any country. It is a bilateral agreement, and it is a defensive arrangement that in case of any aggression, the both countries will stand together. So I foresee good vibes coming from all over, and good successes for Pakistan in the diplomatic front, and also I see a future in which Pakistan will inshallah economically grow as well.
Absolutely. Dr. Soherwordi, what say you regarding this matter?
Yes. Hello.
Yes, by all
Am
means.
I audible?
Yes, my question to you is, what do you think about this whole situation regarding the recent interview carried out by the DG ISPR?
I believe that the evidence of direct Indian military involvement in subversive activities on Pakistani soil is deeply troubling and must be addressed through urgent diplomatic channels. Such actions risk destabilizing an already fragile regional security environment and violate the principles of sovereignty and non-interference, as we say in international relations. Pakistan has the right to present its case robustly to the United Nations, to regional partners, and to the international community, demanding independent investigation, accountability, and immediate cessation of any such covert operations that inflame tensions and endanger civilian lives. ISPR DG has very rightly pointed it out that this kind of activities are taking place, and there must be someone who may speak on this subject as well. So President Donald Trump, as General Raza mentioned, that he has mentioned a lot many times about stopping the war between the two countries, but still there are reasons of these kind of skirmishes taking place between Pakistan and India. These reasons may also be halted, and that is possible only and only when DGISPR's pointing out of such elements are concerned. If those may be dealt with properly, peace will prevail in the entire region. So I believe that Pakistan calls for calm and constraint from all sides while it preserves its legitimate right to defend its national security. You may have seen that recent defense agreements with partners in the region, including Saudi Arabia, that defense agreement has taken place between Pakistan and Saudi Arabia. It strengthens Pakistan's deterrence posture. It also, Pakistan also remains committed to measured, proportionate responses and to exhausting diplomatic and legal avenues before any such escalation again takes place, as was the case previously in May this year. So I think that the priority must be de-escalation, transparent inquiry, and restoring mutual confidence so that the region can move away from confrontation and move towards dialogue and stability. Such reasons of difficult relations, if are pointed out by DGISPR, I believe they must be taken into notice, and something must be acted upon so that a normal and improving region may be witnessed in terms of the process in South Asia.
You know, this was the Chief of Army Staff's, second visit to the U.S. in just 1.5 months, and that really says something to the international community. Do we sense a little insecurity from, across the border?
I believe that the second, so in such a short term, frequent visits means that normalization of relations or closer collaboration between the two countries is taking place, especially when they have common objectives, they have common grounds where they can get together. This year's skirmish between India and Pakistan was really a defining moment. The reason was that Pakistan was complying with international order, Pakistan was complying with international law, Pakistan was complying with the international community. On the other hand, India was not. So everybody realized that even if Pakistan was having an edge over India during this 4 days skirmish between Pakistan and India, Pakistan was still very close to international community, whereas India was still acting as a belligerent state. So therefore, not only Americans are inviting Field Marshal Asim Munir, not only Europeans are really quite have an aura of Pakistani military leadership over them, but you see the East is also quite influenced by Pakistan. As I just mentioned that Pakistan's relations with more profound relations with China, with Russia, are for that matter an agreement that recently took place between Pakistan and Saudi Arabia.
Absolutely, very well said. Now, General Raza, just a little quick before we go, quick statement before we go. Understanding that 1.5 months, 2 visits. What are the new dimensions that could be unearthed?
Thank you so much. I think it is very significant. It has never happened before. Field Marshal Asim Munir, during Operation Bunyan al-Marsus and Marka-e-Haq, not only him but the Prime Minister and whole of a nation performed so well that they made a mark. And they earned respect for themselves and for the country as a whole. And they earned the respect of the superpower which is presently there, the United States of America. And it is a result of the same respect that KSA went into an agreement with Pakistan for their defense also, because they saw it that the security umbrella which was being provided to the Middle Eastern Strait was not that reliable. Qatar is the case in point, where Qatar and United States both suffered an embarrassment. Now, where to go forward? How will it go forward? I see it very positively, because there is an understanding between Pakistan and United States, and KSA is one of those countries which have very strong and very close relations with the United States. So it becomes a meeting after this agreement, a meeting of the friends, I think. And last point, there may be few people who must be worried that what will happen to Pakistan's friendship with China. Pakistan-China bond is very important, very significant, and Pakistan will never compromise in that. And it has happened also, if you remember, after the last visit of the Field Marshal Asim Munir, he straight away went to China, and China has, I can assure you, China has always said, have good relations with United States, have good relations with India. So I think I foresee all green. I foresee positivity, I foresee hope, and I foresee that Pakistan is going to get more respect and become economically strong, and internally, externally, Pakistan will be able to defeat their enemies.
Absolutely, so beautifully said, Ambassador Raza. Now, that being said, we had the wonderful Major General Dr. Raza, who is a former ambassador, and then we also had Dr. Syed Hussain Shaheed Soherwordi, who is a foreign affairs expert. We had a very enlightening and insightful conversation regarding the two prevalent situations at hand. And that being said, my name is Naila Shuja. You are watching Views on News here on Pakistan TV.